I think it's time to get this bloody Clio finished. It's been taking absolutely ages. In the last video we actually put in the gearbox. Put in the gearbox in the last video, which was an absolute piss take, so much harder than I thought it would be. But today we're just going to put the rest of the suspension up. Depending on the time, we may have it running. I need to top up the gearbox oil. If I need a pump or I need like a long tube and go through the top, I'll need two people to do that. So we're going to see how we get on, because I've got to be in like Oxford for about 5 o'clock. So gearbox, all I want me to do now is just put the subframe up and the power steering rack up, and then the rest of the suspension. We haven't really touched the suspension on that side of the car, but as you see, it's all apart on this side. We've got the driver shaft and everything in the boot. So let's get this subframe bolted up. Let's get the power steering rack bolted to it, which was a bit of a pain, but hopefully I know how it comes off, so it'll be a bit easier now. And let's just get this Clio driving, because it's been sat here for way too long. Right, so I've come in and we ideally need to get the subframe up. I can't really bolt in the power steering rack perfectly until the subframe's up. So I'm just going to try. I've just got a jack on this side. I'm just going to push it up. And we've got to just try to just line everything where it needs to be. So this radiator is causing a bit of an issue. It's just space. Like, doing this on the floor is such an annoying job. Like, it's literally just space to get the jacks and stuff. So this radiator needs to come all the way forward, really. Bottom bracket, which it's not wanting to do. Plus the subframe needs to come back a little bit. Maybe, there we go. So I'm gonna start removing all the bolts, which I've kept in so I don't forget where it goes, like the power steering, this bolt here for the bracket, and this and stuff like that. So let's just start removing them, but let's not forget where they go. There's a little bit of faffing, so we have to put this one in, and this side was a little bit too far over, so I have to go on the other side, pull it. So we've got this bolt in, and then I realised I forgot this little bracket thing here between the gearbox mount, so I have to drop this side again, obviously, put this little bracket, this little horseshoe thing in, and that kind of like makes it sit properly against there. So now we have that in there, 3 bolts in here, so we're going to go underneath to the power steering. To the other side, which I'm going to need help with, because you remember that bolt over there, the front subframe one, it was bad. I might be able to loosen it up a little bit now. I've got some like decent penetrating oil. But this side is in. Power steering, that side, that bolt, try and figure it out, maybe get some help. Suspension, drive shaft, gearbox oil, done, I think. So this is a tricky bit, ladies and gentlemen. I have to put these bolts through the subframe and then through the power steering rack, but it's difficult because you have to use an extension like this and then guide it through, otherwise you'll lose the bolt in the middle of the subframe. So we have to come up, and again, very difficult on the fucking floor, but I'm gonna need 2 hands. So I've got the bolt back through there. I then have to get the right angle and put it through. I need 2 hands, so I'm gonna have to put it through the other hole, the other subframe, and then through the power steering rack and put it in. Yeah. Okay, so we're just literally getting the power steering rack bolted to the subframe. So we've got 3 in. Just want to put the last one in, which is a bit difficult. I'd recommend anyone doing this to bolt up the power steering rack to the subframe when the subframe's not fully bolted up, because the access up there is terrible. So I've got to use a spanner, and because I've not got my toolbox, I ain't got any ratchet spanners. It's making it quite annoying. But the last bolt to put the power steering rack in, the thread, as you can see there without even focusing, is bollocks on it. So I've just been to Bennett's. They've not got a tap and die set or a spare bolt, so we're gonna have to go out in the Audi and see if we can find one of the 2. There is a Juicens around the corner, so we're gonna go and see them, because as you can see, this bolt is not threaded into the power steering rack. But after that, we're on the home stretch. Okay, so Juicens don't do bolts or tap and die sets, so I'm gonna go all the way to fucking Screwfix. Okay, 4 shops later, thanks to Screwfix, I've really hurt my arm getting these bolts in and out of that fucking power steering. Got a tap and die set. I hope that one of them's the right size. So I'm just going to clean off this thread, this thread, go back in again and see if it's fine. It could be something in the thread on the power steering rack, which is going to be a little bit more difficult, but I think it'll still be doable with the access I've got. But I'm hoping I'll clean up this one, and that should be enough. So yeah, if you never used tap and die set before, I'm not going to show you how to use a tap and die set on this video. No, I will. Basically, it's just like you have 2 things here. That goes into a thread to clean it up, and these things spin around a bolt to clean it up. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Okay, so the subframe is actually up. So I actually lost this subframe bolt. I don't know if I've lost it or I actually put it in my toolbox, but in my toolbox is one which fits perfectly. So that's up there now. This side, I remember having issues in with the video last time. It was just so tight, and because it's not a captive nut, it was really hard to use two things. Anyway, lots of penetrating oil, and that's tight. So the subframe is up. One of the bolts, which that bolt I was having issues with, I got the tap die set. There wasn't the I don't think there was the perfect die size. It's a weird size, that bolt. But I've managed to use one very close to clean the threads in, and it's gone in. It was tight going in, but it's in. I'm going to get this side suspension on, get the drive shaft in, which is all in the boot here. I think it's open. Yeah, it is. So it's all just one big piece. I've took it all out together. So you've got suspension, the drive shaft, and all that on. Now it is annoying because it's not a ball joint. It's this. You have like 3 stupid bolts which sit underneath these, and it's annoying. It's hard to do, but it's a Clio, so what do you fucking expect? And then we just need to put some oil in it and start it up. Now, hopefully I'll have time to do that today. So what I've been learning about this car is that it's like all about little techniques that you only learn from like doing it once. The amount of times I've like had to use a specific bolt in a specific way, in a specific tightening sequence, in a specific angle. It's very frustrating. So bottom arm things on here, we're gonna smack on the always leave a brake line dangling by the caliper guy. It's the best way to do it. We're going to start putting this full suspension unit in, and I hope it just slides in. Ugh, because it's not fucking light. So now I'm just going to slide this over. Actually, so this is the thing. So it's like, do I put the strut in first and then put the drive shaft in, or I can't remember, because this is the thing, I can't remember how I got the bastard thing out. I'm probably going to guess that I'm going to put this strut up in here first and try and is that going to work? As long as it's inside the arch. Maybe like that. Yeah, that's it, baby. Let's give us a second. So someone said to me, "Gan, you've got to do about 8,000 things at the same time. So at this point, you've got to get it lifted up, get it in the hole and forward. Well, 4 things at once. So I'm just going to try to remove them. So I'm just going to put it in here first and tighten it all the way. That should lift it all the way. Right, so that's all the way up to the top. So now we can focus on getting it in the drive shaft and lowering this over the all-over arm. So I think I'm gonna have to try and spin the shaft so it slots into the box. Honestly, this stupid design. You've got 2 bolts in it, it's just so stupid. It just doesn't line up, and you can't get the nut on the top because the drive shaft's in the way. Honestly, and you jack it up, it just pulls it out from the gearbox. It's so this car. Just put a ball joint on the arm. What is this bullshit, mate? Fucking joke. How it goes on. So I have to bend this down here just to get this one bolt through. So I've got to do the first one first. So I put the second one through. You have to put a spanner through here, and it will should just grip on that nut. Tighten it from the bottom, and then that should lift the whole thing up a little bit, meaning you can put the second bolt through and do the exact same thing. I'm getting very tired and very bored. I'm very sick of this fucking car now, to be honest, guys. We're almost there. I just need to just put the things back in the top, so the battery tray, shit like that. I don't know if I'm going to have time to start it today, which I'm quite annoyed about. Now, the one thing is, since I put the drive shaft on this side, obviously it turns, but it's not smooth as the other side. So I'm hoping that just because this side's been exposed the elements for a bit, it's just, and there's no oil in the gearbox at all. Like it's turning freely, but I can feel, if I go slowly, I can feel a little bit of resistance from the drive shaft. I'm hoping that's just because there's no oil in there. And when I put some oil in there, it'll be fine. But it's turning fine. So I'm hoping once we get some oil in there, it should be good. Right, we're cracking on. So pretty much everything's on underneath. I just need to do the selector, but there's a way you got to do it. I think you got to put it in reverse and then put the box in reverse and marry them up. But obviously you can't just, I think you either need cable tie. Yeah, probably with cable tie. Apparently you need 2 people, but so right now that's just flopping around. So I think you need to put it in reverse, where reverse is meant to be, which is over there. Cable tie it down, put the box in reverse, and then tie them up. To be fair, that's staying there. But I'm actually running out of time, so today I'm just going to quickly get the rest of the bay done, so try to remember where everything goes. But it's put yourself a span to it, and it's just wiring, so at the end of the day, if something's not bolted down perfectly, it doesn't really fucking matter. Put the battery in, put the airbox on, and then we need to find a way. Actually, I'm going to figure out how you top the gearbox oil up now, because if you need to do that by taking the battery out, then there's no point in putting the battery back in it to take it back out again. So let me just Google quickly how you top up the gearbox on this. It'll probably be like a fill plug at the side, and I'll need a syringe, but potentially might be something on top. So let me just Google it real quick. Okay, so for what I've just Googled, you won't be able to see it on the GoPro, but there's a little plastic screw on the front, and apparently you fill it up from there, and it's just like a fill plug. So it's a bit of a oh no, it's here. Oh right, so it doesn't take much oil at all. So this little plug here, so I could probably do that from the top. There you go, I've cracked it off. So this little screw here is the fill plug. So I could probably, I think it's easier just to to not use a syringe, and just run like a piece of hose up through the bottom and just top it up there. So it doesn't actually take much oil at all. But there we go, so at least I know how to do that. So I'm going to leave the airbox off for that, but I can run the car without the airbox just to make sure that it's all working and stuff. So we're going to put the battery back on, and that's going to be it for today. But I will see you guys on the flip side later. See you guys on flip flops later. Is it flip side later on School of Rock? I've ruined that one off.